Day uno. This has been day uno. This has been day uno of Le Pranic Retreat. What's happening? Hey, what's going on? Walt, Sir Walt, the great fresh money in the building. What's happening, Danny? What's going on? Shout out, shout out. This has been day uno of Le We're like high on life right now. I know we look like we on something. They probably like, what are they on, man? What are these two on? We on life. We on life. We on prana. So, oh man, what did we consume today? That was a lot of food. That was a lot of food we digested. That was some conscious eating, some conversation cuisine. It was like a bliss buffet of information, breaking the boundaries, breaking beyond beliefs. We even talked about Bruce Lipton, the biology of belief and changing our DNA, changing our genetic makeup, rewriting the story, rewriting your narrative, rewriting your structure, rewriting your history, rewriting your life, rewriting your lineage, your legacy. So what was one of the things that you took away, one of your takeaways from the takeaway? She's like, where do I start, yo?
It's so good to surround yourself with people also on your lifestyle, because it just gives you more confirmation. Like, there was things that were new to me, but there was a lot of confirmation of things that I've been following and been knowing. And so it's so, I don't understand the feeling of just like hearing a whole group of people agreeing, whenever you're the only one in your area and everybody's like thinking I'm crazy, and then to be in a group where everybody is agreeing, and these are facts. These are facts. It doesn't matter if you're spiritual or not. These are facts because everything is energy, and that's what this lifestyle is about. It's about healing, and everything is energy.
And they also talked about how everything is mental.
Yes.
How it's all a mind game. It's in the mind. Even the perspective, this is a fresh perspective for the collective, but it's also just coming back to that understanding that what you think about becomes your reality. Your perception becomes reality on all levels. So it was really interesting to like you said, to be around a group of like-minded folks, and everybody came from all walks. We have people there from Atlanta. We have folks there from San Diego, Ohio, Cincinnati. We have folks from he came from different people from California. Other people coming through, going to Texas, and then of course Ellie Tom coming from Mexico, and flying in for the message, landing the plane on it. So it was a wonderful session. We did some meditation.
Yes.
That was cool.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Shayna Dean led us through the most amazing guided meditation, working through all the chakra points, bringing in that cosmic energy. Like Ellie Tom said, she incorporated many types of meditation all in one, like the visual, the alming.
We did the alms. We had that sound vibration in unison with the whole collective group. So everyone, just making their own sound vibration in resonance and harmony, and just flowing with each other and growing with each other and glowing with each other, and just increasing that inner knowing with each other. There's so much. And he talked about that knowing. You talk about that too, where you talk about a belief versus something that you know. What do you feel like the difference is?
In all of our beliefs, it's like there could be something off with it. Like you believe this, but this. Like take the word belief, there's lie in belief. So I kind of referenced that. Like somebody's belief, it's like personal, kind of like your own perspective. Like your belief is like your perspective, but there's a truth, and the truth is the knowing. The higher truth is just like a universal truth that resonates with everybody as truth. That's why it's an inner knowing. It's encoded in our DNA, in our soul. That's why our friend Ariel said, she barely just heard about pranic living, but her soul, it calls to her soul. And And that is so important because your soul is like connected to your heart.
Yeah.
So it's like your mind could be thinking all these other ways, and people could be putting different thoughts in your mind also about this lifestyle or this way of living. But if you know that your soul, it calls to your soul, the more you follow that, like I told her, you're going to find also your soul purpose, your soul mission. Everything is effortless at that point.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you can't push this on anybody, and it can't be forced. It's all flow and no force. It's not something that you can, crash your way into. It's something you're like called to. You feel something deep within that's reaching out and like calling you towards this. And speaking of Ariel, she said she pushed the button. She had that conviction, and she made a decision at like 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Drove from Cincinnati.
25 hours straight. She drove 25 hours straight.
Crazy.
She had these thoughts like, I should eat something. I've been going for so long. She said she got something to eat, took one bite, and was like, no, I don't need this. I don't want this. I'm just... Yeah, she's feeding off of that cosmic pranic energy already. So. And
it's really cool what energy you start to feed off when you get rid of the concept that you have to get energy from this form. When you understand there's so many forms of energy, there's so many different forms of density, and that even a conversation can be nourishing. Even a dialogue can be nourishing, even increasing your knowing or your capacity to understand something on a new level, a deeper level. When you learn something that you didn't know before, you feel satiated, your cells feel alive, your body feels full, you feel like, wow, it gives you something. It just gives you, it's like a giving for living.
Something I wrote down that's related to that, like Ellie Tom said, is that light is food.
Okay. Yeah, he did break that down. Yeah, break that down, how light is food.
Light is food. So the more light that a food source holds, the more light a food is able to store, the more nutrition it has.
And you can even think about that, like when you look at those pictures, they even have images of like, you put broccoli, like fresh broccoli, and you see the aura coming off of it, the energy coming off of it, versus like cooked broccoli. And then you see the dimmed light.
Life force.
The life force has been dimmed on the cooked broccoli versus the raw, fresh broccoli. So it's,
Or how they talked about the fruit on the tree, how the same fruit tree, but the side that's getting more sun is going to taste sweeter opposed to the fruit on the other side of the tree.
So things that have been sun-kissed. Sun-kissed fruits, sun-kissed eateries. Somebody that could be a restaurant. Sun-kissed, sun-kissed eateries. Has the sun kissed you today? Have you let the sun kiss your face today? Have you, greet the sun? So when we're talking about solar energy and how light is food, light is nourishment, and the lighter you become, the more light comes in. Say that again. The lighter you become, the more light comes in.
And light is nourishment. So people are like, how do you survive? Light is nourishment. Reprogram the mind to take away the beliefs or the things we've been taught. Reprogram. Because this is truth.
That's a big deal too, that you talk about, Janet, because these are not the tools that we picked up in school. It's not the knowledge you learned in college. It's not the
food pyramid.
Yeah, it's not that type of conscious curriculum isn't really out there right now. So these are kind of like the beginnings and even further beginnings, because he started this like 20 something years ago, and he was talking about how the information was like this. You had to really dig and search for information of anybody even talking about the subject. People like Wally Brooks, Jasmine, they were getting laughed at, criticized, ridiculed, all sorts of stuff. And then I remember seeing an interview with Jasmine, and she said, y'all folks, like 30 years ago, y'all aren't going to be laughing no more. Y'all are going to look at those crazy folks, they were right.
It's like I say, like, time will tell. Time will tell. I'm not trying to convince you.
No, definitely not.
Time will tell.
Yeah. And that's a big thing too, about not needing to convince and understanding that your Say again?
Ear ringing.
And your testimony is the most powerful thing for you. That's one thing that I really agree with, where he talked about, he even talked during the teaching that they will admit nothing that they say is really going to have as profound of a change on you than your own self-realization. That the things that you go through on your own, the things that you find out on your own, the things you discover and uncover on your own. Like one of my good friends, shout out to Chef Coco over there in Florida over there in the Coconut Grove. Chef Coco, he talked about how when you are curious, you learn. But when you are desperate, you discover. When you are curious, you learn. That's what he told me. But when you are desperate, you discover.
Yeah.
And usually we don't make profound changes in our life, especially profound changes on the level of removing solid food and going into a liquid lifestyle, whether due to inspiration or desperation. And sometimes it takes a mixture of both. So
I think I've been curious my whole life. Yeah. So curious about this and this and this and this, and this leads to that and this leads to that, and it's like just keep expanding.
Yeah.
The more you expand, like we talked about, expanding your consciousness or your mind or your knowing, the greater perspective you have. So you're not then looking through life in this little lens here. You have a larger view of what's really going on, and you don't need anybody else to explain it to you because you see it for yourself.
And speaking of curiosity, you know, like they said, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought her back. You know, we got Tracy over here, Kazuo Guru. He said, how similar the longer you cook food, less nutrients it has. He said, yeah. Shout out to Haruka. Hey, Haruka said, love your orange top. She complimented your orange top.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Haruka from Japan. Haruka-san in the building. Much love. She said, hey, beautiful souls.
Beautiful soul.
Yeah. And she's the soul painter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Much love, Haruka. Much love. Much love to you. So what was another thing that you put down that really stuck out to you?
Oh, man, I don't even know. You know, like, it's easier to live pranic under the sun. Like something for me that happened. I've been on this journey since I met Jerome and he introduced me to liquid lifestyle. I was vegan, like I've said many times before, but I guess I'll say it again. I was at a plateau. Like I felt amazing. I was doing so much energy work, chakra healing, all these things, working on raising vibration, just eating lighter, cleaner. But then I was like at a plateau, like what's next? Like what's next? And so when he introduced me to a liquid life, I had read about it before, but it was the timing, and I was like, okay, like I gotta try this. So it changed my life forever, and there's no going back, as we say, because you just crave more of that. Like you don't want to go back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So what happened to me when I moved into my van last summer? Well, even before that, that's also what pushed me to get out. And on top of the divine guidance I was receiving, yelling at me to do this, I was starting to be miserable in my luxury apartment. I was crying to my boss at the time. I don't want to be there anymore. I don't want to be inside. Going from an air-conditioned building to another air-conditioned building. Being already on the pranic journey lifestyle for a couple years, my body, everything in me was craving to be outside, to get more sunlight, to get more fresh air, more pranic nourishment. So, yeah.
That's one of the things you start to find, like when he talked about mucus as well, and how when things like mucus start to come out of the body, when you start to detox to a level, you crave nature, you crave being outside, you crave being outdoors. I remember even times where it could be freezing outside, it could be, you know, windy, like almost a blizzard outside, and I would still want to be there more than, you know, being really claustrophobic. It felt stuffy, you know, the air felt very stuffy. And that didn't happen to me before when I was consuming large quantities of just the densities and like, oh my goodness. When I was consuming things that it would just be like the sun wasn't my friend, you know, I didn't want to be outside in nature like that for long periods, you know, feeling fed by it. Like today we were just sun gazing out in the Sedona hills. And it just felt so nourishing, you know, to just feel that energy, to just absorb that, like you're communicating with a cosmic intelligence, receiving light codes straight from the source, that all life is, you know, all the plant life, all the animal life, and so are we, you know. So he talks about like human photosynthesis. And he said today, I wrote it down, he said, photosynthesis is the future of humanity.
Yes.
He said that.
I said it from the beginning, even when I went vegan. I said, this is the evolution. This is humanity's evolution. You know, because we are truly light beings, and everything that we had been doing, I had been doing, and the society that we're in is just made to dim that light. But we need to grow that light and shine that light. That's part of our purpose here, is to shine our light, to be anchor points for this, like we said, cosmic higher energy, and also grounded, pulling the higher energy and merging the lower energy into our vessel, into our body, creating balance. As within, so without. The more of us that understand this and practice it, the sooner we will see balance and harmony on this plane and this planet. Just how we all envision. If you want to help the world, if you want to see peace on this plane, create peace within. Become connected to your higher versions, your higher selves guiding you, and also ground with Mother Earth.
Wow, that's a good point you made, Janet, about practice as well, because it is a practice, and a lot of times I feel like we forget that it is a practice. You know, it is a process. It is a progress. You know, it's like it was a process to get here, so we think that it won't be a process to get there. You know, that's going to be a whole nother process, you know?
But it's fun.
Yeah.
It's so
the
fun.
journey can be very fun, you know, when you see it that way. And, you know, when you talked about not going back or not wanting to go back, there is a part of you that once you become awakened or once you become opened to a new way of life, a new way of living, and you feel something you've never felt before, there is a part of you that has been expanded that can never go back to its original dimensions. But for myself and my journey, it's definitely not been a straight line. Like it wasn't all the way, it was like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it still is,
Yeah.
you know, there are times where you're dealing with your emotions, you're dealing with your mind, you're dealing with time, you're dealing with, you know,
Habits.
cycles, habits, yeah, just boredom, not understanding what to do with all that energy, because this lifestyle gives you, I mean, you have a lot of energy, you know, and you got to figure out what to do with all that energy. And so you get very creative. So what you were talking about and what that kind of struck me about, you know, being solitarians or light beings and understanding, receiving that energy, that's always there anyways. It's just always available. It's ready for you. It's waiting on you, how you want to harness that energy. And you can harness it in so many different forms. So with technology, you're seeing that, just like the Bruce Lee quote, the dangerous person is the one that is able to think, listen, and observe. And when we look at nature, we see what the plant is doing, we see what the tree is doing, and we say, okay, how are they getting that energy? How can we get that? Yeah, be like the tree, right? So we see the sun things on the roof, the solar panels. They're harnessing that energy, free energy. Now they have cars. I remember a lady at my old Kung Fu class in Pasadena, she had a Nissan Leaf. And on the top of the Nissan Leaf, it had a sun panel on the roof of the car.
Wow.
And when it was just sitting there in park, she could just harness the sun's energy and it would charge up the car when she needed to go again. You know what I'm saying? We already have that technology. So when you looked at what they call the most advanced technology, which is the human being, we're biomachines. Do we think that we can't harness that same energy? Do we think we can't do what the plant is doing? Do we think we can't do what the tree is doing? Yeah. Why not you? You know? So yeah. Man. And when you start asking those questions, you start getting those answers. You know, the more questions you ask, the more answers you get. And it's ironically funny that continues a loop on itself. The more answers you get, the more questions you have. The more questions you have.
That's why I'm always curious. It just leads to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just continue that path of curiosity, you know, follow the breadcrumbs of your curiosity. What else you got?
You get more energy through meditation than sleep.
Oh.
2 forms that we get energy, meditation and sleep. But sleep, you can like get tired, like you get like a lack of it or something. Like you need, it like wears out. When you receive your energy from sleep, it kind of like wears out. But he was saying that through meditation, that it's, you hold on to that longer, that energy.
Yeah, sleep is like unconscious meditation. Meditation is like conscious sleep. So you're doing something while you're awake that's recharging you without needing to go to sleep. So it actually, when you meditate for longer and longer periods, you can start to have energy in abundance, and you'll need less and less sleep. And I mean, we felt what that's like.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, you can read about this all you want, but until you experience it yourself, lose your mind.
Yeah. And when you start to realize, like, wait a minute, all it is energy. It's just energy. And then you start to ask yourself, okay, well, where else could I get that energy? Okay, I could get that energy from over here. And then you start to get your energy from other places, and you feel different because you're used to feeling a certain way. When I was used to the dense, consumption, the forms of consumption, I was used to being sedated. I was used to feeling a lack of energy. I was used to feeling, like anesthesia, like I was just going under.
Everybody says it. After they eat, they get tired. They want to go take a nap, or makes them not want to do their work because they just want to rest then.
We even have jokes about it, like the itis. You've heard about the itis? You've heard about that? No.
Food-itis?
Maybe that's a country thing. I don't know. When you get the itis, you lay it out, after a big old meal. But we joke about these things, but it's like the body is in recovery mode.
The battery.
The body, the battery is a battery, it needs to recharge. And when we think about the cell phone, even the cell phone right here, I'm plugged into this little charger thing right here. This thing is plugged into the cell phone that we're talking on right now. And we remember to plug in our technology. Why don't we remember to plug ourselves in? Why don't we remember to charge ourselves? We're so focused on charging this, but not charging this.
Something related to that, like we're saying, like the point he made that rewired so many thoughts I had previous, was that when you consume plants versus animals, it's just easier to digest. It's not that you're getting more light or more energy from being plant-based or eating lighter in whatever type of way, even juicing, you feel like you have more energy. Fasting, you have more energy. Where am I getting here?
What he said was you're conserving energy.
Yes.
You are energy.
Yeah, so it takes less of your energy to digest plants than it does to digest animal product. It takes less energy to digest liquids than it does solid plants.
It's different how it goes through your system.
It's not that you're getting more energy from these different sources. It's that you're not using as much of your reserve battery to digest it. Because you're abundant. You have no lack of energy. Like, you have endless resources. You're an infinite being. So when you think about the things that we put in, the things that we think that we need, the feelings of lack and scarcity, it robs us of energy. Even a thought, even the thought that, go ahead. It just blew my mind what Shayna was saying, how if you have an illness or anything going on, you can simply say, no, I'm not going to feel that. I'm not going to experience that.
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that.
I don't consent to that.
So people that are sick all the time is because they've made an agreement with that illness or sickness.
Like a contract.
Yeah. Everything is mental.
Yeah. We also have Green Souled said, fruit and juice has brought so much awareness to how dense and sedated dense energy and food brings. Yeah, it's interesting, when you think about the way that things go through the system, and when you're running on a more, I guess, efficient, type of source of energy, then you feel more efficient.
More pure.
You feel more vibrant. You feel more light.
Well, it's the same source of energy that you're getting from the animals, plants, or juice. It's just we're not going through that filter. You're getting it straight from the source. So then you're not exuding any energy to digest or work with the energy you consume because you consumed it in a different way. It requires no digestion. It's like a different form of digestion.
Right.
You're digesting the sunlight and the air and the nature. You're digesting it in the body, but it's like more of an absorption rather than a process of having to work to break down this substance. You're just absorbing.
Yeah.
You don't have to work to break it down.
Yeah. Even think about the different types of water. You think about an ice cube. It's still water, but it's in a dense form. It's in a condensed form. Then you think about liquid. The molecules are moving a little bit faster. Then you think about a gaseous state, the air. it's still matter, but it's moving at a faster rate. The molecules are moving differently. So when you're just consuming a lighter form or a lighter source, you start moving differently. You know, you start breathing differently. You know what it feels like to actually breathe, to actually be hitting the diaphragm like that, you know? I remember hearing Jasmine Heen talk about that, and she said, pranic people, they eat all the time, just differently. And when you rewire that concept, like, oh, we are eating, we're just eating differently. Yeah.
Different forms of the same energy.
Yeah.
It's not anything like out of this world that it's like hard to grasp or the concept. It's really very simple.
And in that simplicity is what gets people hung up. Like he said, he even talked about Wim Hof, and how when Wim Hof talked about things, he said that what gets people hung up is it's so simple, they don't believe it. They think it has to be hard. They think it has to be difficult because it's too simple. It can't be that simple. It must, you know? And it's just like those kinds of revelations, you know, when you come to that. Yeah. Like it could be effortless, like you said.
The more simple your life is, the more peace you'll have and the more balance you can achieve and maintain, because your life is simpler. You can put that focus and that energy towards creating or doing other things that you've always wanted to do.
Even when it came to the materialism, when it came to a lot of the things, like I'm down to just a book bag over there. That's what I'm carrying my life in, you know? And it definitely wasn't like that. You know, I had an abundance of clothes. I had a closet full of things. I had boxes full of books, video games and movies I wasn't watching, and things I wasn't doing. And all of that was just energy.
Taking space.
Yeah. And it was visual. It was like visual noise, you know? It was like taking up space in my mind, let alone taking up space in my room, taking up space in my life. And when I thought about it, I think I heard an audio one time on Taoism, and it was like life in the Tao or something like that. And they were talking about how are you holding these things, or are they holding you? Do you possess your possessions, or do they possess you? And it was asking the question of, you know, of all these things that you're taking care of, you know, you have to spend the rest of your life taking care of them, you know, as long as you hold on to them. So I just started giving them away, and I just became lighter and lighter. And then it got fun. Like we talk about how the journey can be fun. Then it was like, what else can I let go of? What else can I release? You know, what else can I detach from? And every time I let something new go, something new came in.
It's like you have a bubble. You have only this certain amount of space, and it's like all those things are taking up that space, and you feel cramped. And so, like you said, the more I gave away, I'm like, oh, I can breathe. Oh, I can breathe. Oh, there's more space. Like, it just feels better and better. And it's like, yeah, what else can I? Constantly, I'm giving things away. Yeah.
And it allowed you to be more mobile. It allowed you to do more things. It allowed you to be in more places. It allowed you to see more people.
Yeah.
It was like, we don't think of materials as energy. But when you look at materials as energy, you start to think, oh, wow, you know, it doesn't even matter. I don't even need to sell these things. I just need to move this energy out so somebody else can have the feeling that I got when I bought this. Now somebody else gets to experience that energy. You let go of the old energy, you're bringing in the new energy.
And the point that even inanimate objects that are not alive hold energy and vibration. So something that you could associate it with different memories, it's like you're holding on to that energy from past memories. If you want new things and new energy to come into your life, you have to release the old. So not just mentally or your body, like also with your material items.
Speak about that, because you remember seeing things in your closet or in somebody else's closet that was attached to a memory of somebody else, and that energy was still there.
Yeah, plenty of things. Like say you wore a shirt to a certain event, or you wore this dress on this date with this guy, and like it didn't go so well, or he's not in your life anymore. It's the past. It's the old. Let that stuff go. Let it go. Yeah.
And what happens when you let that energy go? You know?
You meet new people.
Man.
You allow the space for what's meant for you to enter. It's like the energy is right there waiting to enter you, but you have blocks. So those material items are just a form or an example of a block holding that space for what's meant for you to then enter your life.
Yeah. And he talked about that, like the vessel. It's the vessel that is prepared for the energy that's waiting on you. The energy is seeking you. It's always available. So it's like the higher forces don't have to change. We change. And then the higher forces descend, There's a descension before the ascension. We always talk about ascension. We're like, how to ascend? How do we ascend? But first there's like a descension, and then comes the ascension. So think about something that's always waiting for you, always available. It's asking you, where do you want to go? Like a genie with unlimited wishes. What do you want next? I remember when I was in California, Janet, there was a Qigong class that I took. And he told us while we were doing Qigong, he said, when you do this type of energy cultivation, it's like creating your own luck. That's what he said.
It ain't luck, it's alignment.
Right.
I always tell you.
Right.
You're becoming in more alignment. Somebody that has, not so great things happen to them, like, oh, why is this happening? Oh, this happening. Oh, this happening. It's because it's trying to redirect you. It's trying to show you you might not be in the right place or doing the right things. If you're doing the right things and you're in the right place, it's gonna work effortlessly. If it's not, rethink what you're doing or where you're at.
It's kind of like how they say rejection is direction.
Yeah.
Or like rejection is redirection. Yeah. It's showing you where you need to move to. Yeah. Like they say, when one door closes,
10 more open.
Come on now.
Or shoot, 100. And there's no limit.
Infinite. They say that in life. They gonna think we high.
I know. We are.
We high on our own supply. Come on now. So in life, they say that there are an infinite number of doors. Now, if you are diligent, you may open some of them. If you are brilliant, you may open many of them. But if you are vibrant, they will open for you.
The more you shine, the more comes to you.
So when you are vibrant, when you have vibrancy, when you have vigor, when you have energy, the doors open for you. You don't even have to open those doors. They open for you. So it's just that understanding, like, when they talk about how the law of attraction, in the law of attraction, there is that word action, in attraction. So to attract, we must take action. And today, Elitam and Shayna, they were talking about electromagnetism.
Yes.
And when you increase your electricity, you increase the magnetism. And things are pulled into your gravitational field.
No, not even really. Like I said, you just have to remove the blocks.
So removing the blocks. So talk about that.
We're natural. By nature, we are electromagnetic beings, not just light beings with running off light or electricity. We're also electromagnetic. So that's why we don't have to work for things. They just will naturally come to you when you remove the blocks that are blocking it from coming to you. It's like simply put, imagine two magnets. Like two magnets, and they wanna come together, right? Like, yeah, here we go. Like, they'll come together if you let them. If there's nothing blocking them. Put something in the middle.
Okay.
Put this in the middle, they can't. It won't come to you. It's right there. It's like pulling, coming, but that block won't allow it to just come to you.
So when you remove the block, just like my brother Breath Messiah Zay, shout out to Isaiah, the Breath Messiah, he said, remove the obstacle, remove the impediment, remove what's blocking.
And that could be mental or emotional or physical or anything. Anything.
Yeah, it could be a belief. For the longest time, I thought that if you go without water for 3 days, you die. If you go without food for 5 days, you die. These were the things I adopted.
Or you'd be deficient and sick or something.
Yeah, like you'd be, deathly ill, or you'd just be, just bedridden. Like you couldn't do anything. You couldn't walk. You couldn't get up. You couldn't move. You couldn't function. And when I learned the total opposite, that everything I learned was backwards. I was like, what? Like, are you telling me? I thought I was crazy, y'all. I was out there on the streets, you know, and I was in downtown Los Angeles. I remember it like it was yesterday. I even put it in my book. I was in downtown Los Angeles.
What's your book called?
The Pranic Path and How to Grow It from the Mind of a Poet. And so I was in downtown Los Angeles, seeing the dichotomy, seeing the difference between, okay, there's homeless over here. They're looking for something. They're begging for something. They're, you know, mendicant, you know, and they're impecunious, so to speak. Then there's the wealthy over there. They're living a life of luxury, living a life of lavishness, you know, and abundance, so to speak, how we see them. And none of those people understood what I came to my understanding, that we don't need anything. Like, we are self-sustaining beings. You know, we're like the plant out there, just getting it from...
Well, we do need something. We do need nourishment.
Okay. But
because that confuses people, and they think, how do you live off of nothing?
Okay, so...
It's not nothing.
So let me tweak that a little bit. Yeah, go ahead. So it's not nothing, but it is something, but it's different than what we've been told.
We can't see it through the three-dimensional eyesight. We can't see, like, the air. You feel it. You know it's there. It's real. This form of nourishment that we're talking about is real. It's just like maybe we think that it's nothing because we can't see it with our physical eye.
But there are people who can see it with...
Yes, that's what I said. The more you expand yourself, you can access more of your multidimensionality, which is multidimensional sight, not just three-dimensional sight, but... things that exist in lower and higher dimensions than the 3D, you can then see those things because you've expanded your vision.
So on the same subject as the magnet example that you talked about earlier, the magnet analogy, when you're thinking of your thoughts as a magnet, your energy as a magnet, that everything that's coming off of you is also coming towards you. Everything that you're thinking about, you're attracting. You know, you're attracting the people, the situations, the things that you perceive as problems, like all these things. Like, how am I attracting these things into my life?
To take accountability and know that you're the one causing it, nobody else.
Yeah.
Nothing nobody else did is bringing this upon your life. It's everything that stems from you.
So they talk about, you know, accountability is like a superpower, you know, because you can't count on others all the time. You can't always count on others.
But that's the beauty in it then, because you're only depending on yourself to control your life. You are in total control.
And that's how you reclaim your power. You understand that, run that back. I reclaim my power, you know, when you accept the blame. For so many years, I put blame externally. I said, this is the reason for my problems. This is the reason for my struggles. This is the reason for my stress. When I turned that finger that was already pointing 3 fingers back at me, when I put it back at me, I got that power back because I realized, okay, if it's because of me, then it's up to me to change it. And if I can change it, then I have that power. So like they say, responsibility is the response to the ability. Yeah. It's like a gift you give yourself. I give myself permission, you know, to reclaim my power.
We can't control anything outside of us anyway. But we can in a way, because if we fine tune what's inside of us, that's going to be a reflection on the external. So if you feel like you can't control anything on the outside, work on the inside and you'll see that reflected to the outside. That's how it works. That's how it works.
Yeah. Victoria said, loving this flow, y'all amplifying each other. I love it. Much love.
Always.
Much love, Victoria. Shout out.
Water.
Shout out to Level Mind. She got the level mind. You know what I'm saying? She keeping the level head. She reminding us. Thank you. Much love. So, yeah, you know, that understanding. And that was a hard pill for me to swallow, you know, to come to that conclusion that, okay, if it will be, it's up to me. It happens to me because of me. That was hard. That was tough. Because I didn't want to accept that. I didn't want to accept the blame and just saying like, oh, wow. Really?
See, that was your perspective, right?
Yeah.
I had the opposite of that.
Okay.
I was empowered.
Okay.
Like it's not just what happens to me. I can make it better. myself, I have that control. It's not just whatever's laid on me. I have the power to experience what I want to experience. So I was like, all for it. Let me get on this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So it empowered you.
It empowered me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you feel empowered, you can empower others. You know? They feel your energy. They feel there's something about you. You know, like everywhere we go, the people just looking at, like, people just be watching. People see your glow. People see your energy. People like, there's something different about this person. What is going on with this person? I can't put my finger on it, but there's something unique about, you know.
We're free.
Yeah.
We're free. I think so much of this life, what makes us feel kind of trapped or stuck or like we can't do this because of that. But when you realize you can do anything and you release those blocks, like I mentioned, so much freedom. Like, I'm just so free.
Limitless.
Free.
Limitless.
Yeah, limitless.
Yeah. So it's almost like, you know, when we talked about how when you love your body, it loves you back. And we spoke about silence. And there was something that they touched on with silence. I really want to go to this.
You're writing.
Man,
I was going to say, let me see, but he has his own.
Yeah, this is how I write.
Over here.
This is the way I write. Y'all didn't know. I have a little shorthand here. So
it's like an alien language.
So he said, taking time for silence sends yourself the message that you are worth hearing.
I wrote that down too.
And honor your life by practicing silence regularly. So taking time for yourself, taking time to fill up your cup, right? Letting it pour from the overflow. Not pouring from an empty cup, but filling yours up first. Taking that time for yourself in silence gives yourself the message that you are worth hearing.
Say that again.
It gives yourself the message that you are worth
what does?
Hearing. Taking time for yourself. Taking time for silence.
For yourself.
Yeah, taking time for yourself. So when you take time for yourself, you take time for your health. And in result, you take time for your wealth, because health is wealth. So you are in abundance when you live in abundance. Yeah. So that's an important message, because I found myself in the rat race, trying to work, trying to put forth effort, trying to struggle, trying to make things harder than they really need to be. When we talk about energy being like water, it always flows to the path of least resistance. So when you go to the path of least resistance, it's just coming to you.
If I find myself trying to do something, I take a step back. There should be no trying. It should just be effortless. It shouldn't be a feel of a force to or anything. And if you feel that, what I do is I just take a step back and take that time to reflect, that silence, that time to myself to then reflect upon it and see what am I doing that's, just I'm going to do things differently, because that's not the way. It's going to cause more resistance.
When you spend less time projecting, you spend more time reflecting. When you spend more time reflecting, you spend more time connecting. And when you spend more time connecting, that's when you start respecting. And laughter too, y'all. Come on now. Laugh a little bit. Laughter is a whole energy on its own. You can have a laughter lunch whenever you want. Two of our favorite laugh yogis, Lauren and Alik. Shout out to the laughter yogis, the laughing love bugs out there who spread the message on laughter, and how you never have to wait. You don't have to wait for something to actually be funny to laugh. You don't have to wait for the energy to come upon you for you to feel that energy. You can feel happy now. You can feel joy now. You can have laughter now.
That's also like not depending on anything outside of yourself to make you feel that way. What's up?
Oh no, I'm good. Oh. Keep going.
What else we got here? Let's see.
Self-time is deep self-love, they said. Flow and glow, much love.
Talking about the glow.
Uh-huh.
Prana helps restore cells and tissue. That's why prana equals like healthier and more glow. It's literally restoring your cells and your tissue. Because so much of what we consume is actually aging us, dehydrating us, kind of damaging our cells and tissue. But prana is the pure source. It actually restores our cells and tissue. Yeah. Which in turn makes you glow.
Good point.
Because your cells are vibrating high. Their cells are glowing.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where you might see young children start to look at you, animals start to look at you, things just sense there's something about your energy because you're giving off you're giving off something, something that you might not be able to see, might not be palpable to the touch, but it is a feeling that you can evoke and that others can sense and perceive.
That feeling is love.
Yeah, the love energy.
That's that love.
That's
it's like no matter what your lifestyle or what you're doing in your life, if you're living from your heart space, that's always felt. It's always felt. It doesn't matter if you're on this journey or even a health journey, even if you're however your life is, but you're living from your heart space. That's that energy that you're exuding, that you're coming from. So therefore that intention is pure and it's love, and we feel that. We feel that.
By the way, new book on the way. Coming soon. New book. Coming soon. Janet Lucille, How to Live from Your Heart Space. Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. It's on the way. Very shortly. I want to circle back real quick to something Haruka just asked here. Haruka said, so if you don't connect, you can't respect. So my answer to this is, when I was living in downtown Los Angeles, and I can recall so many times on my journey, like I said, it hasn't been a straight line. It's been a roller coaster. It's been up and down, back and forth, in and out. And there were times when I wasn't connected. I felt like my body was not respected. I felt like I had betrayed my body. I felt like my body was like a living entity, like a person that had feelings of its own, that listened to every word that I spoke, that listened to every thought that I, was thinking, and every cell in my body could hear me, at a deep level. And then there were times where I went against my own notion to go on this path. I feel good doing this. I understand that this makes me feel good. Like I have more energy, I'm vibrant. Then when I go back into the densities, back into the lower frequencies of things, I felt low, I felt down, I felt depressed, as we would call it. That kind of perception those things came onto me. And oh man, I remember walking down this tunnel and these cars were coming, zoom, zoom, zoom. These cars were going by and I was on the side of the tunnel just walking, and it was just dark. And I could see the light, literally, I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I remember just, looking down because I was just feeling horrible. I was in this huge cycle after going through a pranic retreat, fasting for days and weeks at a time. The longest I had done was like around 14 days with no solids or liquids. And feeling that energy was something that structurally changed my mind in ways that I cannot even express. So feeling that and then going back into things like, pizza, tacos, burritos, like just having this voracious hunger that could not be sated. That energy could not be sated. It craved more. There was no end to it. It's like the ego cannot be satisfied.
That's consumption.
Yeah.
In consumption, you always want more. And it also kind of puts the idea in your head that you have a lack and that you need to consume more.
So it felt like I was severing that connection with this energetic force, this subtle energetic force that I had gotten this new relationship from. Now I was divorcing myself again from that energy. The marriage was no longer there, and I was consciously, or unconsciously separating from that energy. So when that feeling came upon me, it was a disconnect. I didn't have that connection, so I didn't have that respect. And I felt like I lacked respect for myself. I felt like I lacked respect for my body, for my being. And in turn, I felt like I lacked respect for my life. I felt like I was dishonoring the life, the gift that I had been given. And when I walked down this tunnel, I looked down, and 222, that's my cue. Those are my numbers. Whenever I see 222, I'm like, that's my cue. So I looked down and I seen a ticket randomly with those numbers on it. And for some reason, that was confirmation for me from the universe, or for whatever you would call it, that all is well. All is well. Out of this situation, only good can come. It's okay. And I remember hugging my body. I know it sounds crazy, but I remember actually physically hugging my own body.
It's not crazy. It's healthy.
I hugged myself, y'all. And I started crying. I shed tears. And I was like, I'm sorry. you know, please forgive me, I thank you, I love you, kind of like the whole, whole Oponopono, you know, the Hawaiian, the affirmations. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I thank you, and I love you. You say those 4 phrases over and over and over again. You might start welling up, you might start breaking down. Try it out, you know, go to the mirror and look at yourself, look at your own eyes in the mirror. Just say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I thank you, and I love you. And say those 4 things over and over again and just watch what transformations start to unfold. And that was the beginning of me starting to come back to that form of respect and that form of connection. So thank you for that.
Because you made that connection.
Yeah.
It's like Shayna said, there is no separation. Even mind, body, soul, we say it's separate, but somehow they work together. But in a larger perspective or in a different perspective, they're not even separate. They're all one. It's all one. So if you're not respecting your body, you're not respecting your mind or your soul. And if you feel like you're not respecting yourself internally, you might not respect people on the outside.
Right.
As well.
Right.
So the more you respect your own self, the more you have respect for others as well.
Because we love as deeply as we
love ourselves.
Yeah. Man, doesn't it say that up there? What does it say?
Give love and you will be loved.
Y'all, there's energy all around this Airbnb, y'all. There's like so many messages on all the walls.
This is what I'm saying, what happens when you just follow your path and do what like your soul calls you to do. Y'all, I rented a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house for just me and this guy and my little dog. And there, like you said, affirmations all over. Let's say some of them.
What does it say on that one?
Attract what you expect. Reflect what you desire. Become what you respect. Mirror what you admire. What else? They're everywhere. Laughter is the music of the heart. Inhale courage, exhale fear. Blessed.
Yeah.
You know? Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And so, like, yeah, this is the environment that was just in alignment with the energy that I was putting out. It's just reflected by this beautiful home that we're staying in, and this energy is perfect.
Electromagnetism, you know? And you put it out there, you weren't concerning yourself with the how. You weren't concerning with how am I going to get this, how are we going to do this? You weren't thinking about that.
No, not at all. Not about money. I never think about money. I just think about what I want, and it all works out. Somehow you have whatever you need to achieve your desires.
So in reclaiming your power, when you understand the power of your thoughts, the power of your mind, and you think, okay, if my mind is this powerful, why would I spend a moment focusing on something I don't want? This is a message for me. I'm talking to myself right now.
This is a reminder every day.
Telling you, you know, they say worrying is like praying for what you don't want. You know, worry is like paying a debt you don't owe. Think about that. You're paying a debt you don't even owe.
Whatever you worry about, you might actually manifest that.
This is true. This is true.
But if you don't worry about it, it won't be manifested, because all manifestations come from our minds. So if you only think about what you want, that's all that you're going to receive.
And it's like a genie with infinite wishes. It's not asking, it's not differentiating, you know, good or bad. Yes and no. It doesn't see negatives and positive. It just sees your focus. Wherever the light is shining, whatever you want or whatever you're focused on, the longest grows the strongest.
That's a good point, because we need that balance in life. Like Ariel said, she could be so high off all these experiences and things that she's learning and experiencing, but then something kind of like bad, like not so good happens in her life to kind of bring her down. That's that grounding needed, that balance. It's like without that downfall, that's where the growth happens. And then to keep expanding, we need that ebb and flow. If we're just like high all the time, it's like it takes us going to those low points to really grow. Like
when you think of a tree, you know, the higher you see the tree above, you know that those roots are deep.
Deeper the roots.
They're deep. Come on.
Come on.
Oh man.
The higher you want to go deeper, go down, get into the darkness.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be afraid of the darkness. The darkness is you. It's nothing else. Just face it. Don't be scared. Release the fear. Be uncomfortable. Don't get uncomfortable and go do something to then make yourself comfortable again, because you're going to stay in the same place. Feel that uncomfortability and see what it's trying to teach you or show you.
Yeah. Feel what you feel. That's what's real. I Love Yourself says, I've learned that anything I manifest that I want, I don't get. However, if I manifest, I already have it. The universe gives it to me because I manifested, I already have it.
Exactly. And that's living in the present moment. Not saying that I want, it's like I managed a day spa for 9.5 years, but I really wanted to live more of my soul purpose and use my healing gifts and abilities to also help heal people. And I thought maybe I had the perception I had to then get my office or start a business before I could start helping people and healing them. But I watched an Aaron Dowdy on YouTube video, and he said you have to be what you want to be now, because now is all that we're in. Don't say I want to do this when this or when that happens. That's also putting your power or your energy in the future, which is not here and now. Claim what you want to do here and now, and you'll be that. You'll have that. People started walking into my spa just wanting to talk to me one-on-one. I get to talking to them and they see who I am and what I'm about, then they want to work with me.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
I'm healing people at the spa.
Right.
I started my personal business at my last job.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
In the now.
Yeah.
And then now I don't need that job.
Yeah.
Now I'm free. Free over somewhere that I was like, gave all my time and energy, full-time management, managing this day spa for 9.5 years. Now I have all of that time and energy to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
What lights me up.
Yeah.
That did too. But what really did was helping people and help healing them using your gifts and your abilities.
And you weren't waiting on circumstances to change before you made the changes. I think a lot of us, myself included, we wait for outside external circumstances to change before we make those changes.
That's like set up for failure. You're setting yourself up for failure by saying, oh, well, I'm going to move to Arizona when this person says I can go stay with them or something. No. Or I'm going to do this when my mom does that. Like putting what you want to do in somebody else's hands, you can't depend on that. What if they don't do that? And all the things you want are just, now you got to start over.
Yeah, so it's like making that decision, Once you make the decision, it's like things conspire to assist you. Things shift and move and work around, that decision that you have made with conviction. In the now.
Don't put it in the future.
Yeah.
It's not here yet, and it's not even promised.
Wow.
All we are experiencing is now. And in the larger sense, the future is happening now also.
Yeah. It's all one. It's all one. Oh man, shout out to Celestial. Celestial said, hey, y'all on the road tonight. Let it flow, let it flow. Much love to you.
Talking about present moment, you can access then past and future versions of yourself. And you can pull that energy and that knowledge that your past self or your future higher self contains this knowledge and this wisdom. If you're in the present moment, you can access all of it. Because it's all happening in the now.
Right.
So by being in the now, you can then know more about your past lives, everything that you've accumulated until this point, and then your future selves, you can like bring that in also to the now. And it's wild. It's so wild.
And what's one way that you can bring yourself into the now, that you can anchor yourself in the present moment?
It's all your thoughts, really. Observing just what you're feeling now. What am I doing now? Not what am I going to do 5 or 10 minutes or an hour from now. I don't think about those things. Like I think about it when it is in the now.
Yeah.
So not planning too much. Planning takes me out of the present moment, and then I feel obligated, and then it shifts things that could have happened and been magical because you made this plan. Now it's in a block to the flow of the magic that you could be on by just staying in the now moment.
Yeah. It's like the plans can change, but the goal can remain the same. You know, you see where you're going, you know the trajectory and the direction that you're headed in, but you understand you can stay flexible. You understand that things are always changing. So it may not be the path that you think you'll head down to get to the desired outcome, you know. I like how Haruka also, we had a live one time, and Haruka, shout out to Haruka here. She's showing so much love. We love you.
Thank you.
Haruka, she was like, ask yourself, where do I really want to go now? What do I really want to do now? Who do I really want to be now? You know, like asking yourselves those things like, what do I really want in this now moment?
And knowing that you can have that now. So many people say, well, I wish I could do this. You can. You can.
Yeah.
Why can't you?
Yeah.
Make it happen.
So many friends you've had like that ask about that. You know, and even I asked myself that. I remember I was just sitting in a parking lot wondering to myself, well, why can't I go and go hiking or do this or do that, you know, whenever I want? And it was like a voice kind of told me like, well, then just do it. Like, why are you waiting? What are you waiting for? It's like a slap in the face from my own consciousness. It was like a voice from within that was just telling me, what are you waiting? Gwen Stefani had a song, What You Waiting For?
What you waiting for?
So Haruka asked you, she said, wow, how do you make a living now? Since you manifested that, yeah.
Living my purpose. You know, I don't know. I guess I don't really think about it. I just go day to day, and somehow it all works out. But I am listening to myself and being myself. I think that's key, because for so long I was just put down in life, and I wasn't truly being myself because I was too much for people. I made a lot of people, mostly everyone, and I still do, make them uncomfortable. And so before I would be like reserved then because I didn't want to make anybody uncomfortable. But now I say I don't care. I mean, I care, but it's not going to harm you to be uncomfortable, like we said. It's going to grow you. So I'm here to shift the paradigm. Shift the patterns. That's what we're doing, is creating ripples.
You talk about being uncomfortable and like how change doesn't come from your comfort zone, and how whatever doesn't challenge you doesn't change you. And so, yeah.
But still answering your question, what am I doing? I do a lot of healing work. So on my journey and just being myself, listening to this higher guidance and following that, I get channeled different things, and I investigate and research different things, and it makes my life make sense. Because for the longest, my life didn't make sense. Like, why am I here? And now I know why I'm here. I've learned to channel different rays of light and do different forms of energy healing. And so in just being myself and growing myself, like you said, taking the time to myself, listening to myself, growing myself, has just shown me what I'm here to do and what I have to offer to humanity. So that's what I focus on.
Yeah, like you say, you get paid to be you.
I get paid to be me. Exactly. I repeat that daily. I get paid to be me. Money comes to me effortlessly. It's all in the mind.
Yeah.
A lot of it is all in our mind. And just being your authentic self. Share your gifts with the world, and don't have expectations of receiving anything back. Give for the sake of giving. I
remember reading that in the Bhagavad Gita. The song of, what is it called? Something. The song of something. But it was like Arjuna and Krishna and Arjuna. But in that book, the Bhagavad Gita, they talked about that, you know, uncoupling or untethering the need for something from what you are giving, being able to give for the sake, being able to work for its sake, you know, that kindness was its own reward type thing.
Get uncomfortable. You stay in your comfort zone, you're going to be staying there. Like my old job, it was very stable. You know, I never had to worry about finances ever. Super stable. Always had everything I wanted plus more. That's very comforting to not have to worry about your stability and whatnot with your finances.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead, you good.
taking myself out of that comfort zone just allowed for me to expand in my personal work, in my personal mission here. And that's also to start sharing my voice more and speaking about cosmic knowledge and things that Jerome has, like, for me, it's just kind of normal stuff because I experienced this since a child.
This is not normal for me.
Being connected to higher dimensions and communicating with higher versions, or you could say they're other beings, but they're not really other beings. They're higher versions of yourself. So, yeah, I feel like a lot of this is being explained, but it's still like you tell me from a different perspective, or the way that someone says it could make it make sense to somebody where it didn't before. And so Jerome's just inspiring me to use my voice more and speak about the reality that I experience, which is the same reality we could all experience if we expand ourselves and remove the blocks or the beliefs blocking us from what is possible.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you do what you do best. You know, Ralph Smart has this saying, like, no one else is you, and that is your power. You know, everyone has their own uniqueness. We all have these gifts that we've been given to give back, I believe. You know, Pablo Picasso talked about the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away, you know? So whenever you're in that spirit of giving, that's the secret to living. It's like when you're giving from a place of abundance, a place of opulence, you know, you already know that you're prosperous. You already know you're taken care of. You already know that the universe has your back. Then it does.
When you give, you're automatically receiving. Maybe not in that same form that you give, but you're going to receive from some other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming back like a boomerang. You know, you throw that energy out. You know? It comes back.
Smacks you in the head and you're like, how did I get its blessings?
You know?
Yeah,
you know?
just keep giving.
Yeah.
And maybe you won't see that in the beginning, and you don't give up though. Like if you don't see an instant manifestation or an instant blessing, an instant energy reception from what you're giving, just keep going.
Yeah.
Just keep going, because for whatever reason, it just takes time. And it's not on our time, it's divine timing, because we're all here for a specific purpose. We all have a purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. There are times, you know, that I've woken up and I've been in scenarios where I'm like asking myself, what did I do to deserve this? You know? There's like so much gratitude.
Come on now.
You know, like, and you realize that somewhere along the way you put that energy out, and now that energy is coming back. Because you weren't worried about how it was going to come back or when it was going to come back. You just kept putting that energy out. You just kept planting those seeds. You weren't worried about, is it growing? Is it growing? Is it happening? Is it doing its thing? You just put it out there, and it always comes back in one form or another, you know? So, I mean, there's been sessions that I've done. There's been times where I've met people for the first time, you know, on here. They've asked me questions, and I've had a one-on-one with them. Didn't even ask them for anything, just had a nice, you know, a long chat with them, talking about all sorts of things, you know, from their relationships to their lifestyles to just different questions they had for me. And at the end of it, they were asking me, like, where can I send you, you know, for the energy exchange? They wanted to give because they saw that it was like, you know, they had it was reciprocal. Energy is reciprocal. There was a want, a need to give back because they had been given so much freely. You know, so you are always taken care of, you know, when you come from that place of authenticity, which they say authenticity has no competition, you know, an original is always worth more than a copy, and you are you. No one else is you. There's never been a you before, and there will never be a you after, you know.
It's programming.
Yeah.
You don't have to work for money. You can just be and receive the currency that's needed by just being.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the coolest things about, you know, like how people talk about how to stand out, you know, how do you stand out from the crowd? How do you stand apart? How do you be different? Be you. You're different by default. You know, you stand out by default. by being who you already are. So it's just interesting how I always express and I always impress upon people to put their voices out there. If you feel like you have something on your heart, like we talk about living in the heart space, if you feel like you have something on your heart that you want to speak, that you want to say, that you want to put out there, then you can just do it. I always, right before we press this button, I said, at the touch of this button, I pray that we touch someone's life. Just one person. And you can do that because of your uniqueness. There's something that I'm going to say that's not going to touch somebody the same as the way Janet says it. Janet could say the same thing I said, and it's going to hit somebody differently. Because there's a different energetic frequency. There's a different vibration. There's a different impression that it makes, on somebody's heart. It penetrates differently. So that's the power that you have, the power of your voice, the power of you. Yeah.
We could go all day.
We literally could. But we'll go ahead and close that up for now. We'll go ahead and wrap that there. We took a gang of notes today.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot, and appreciate y'all for hanging in. Appreciate y'all for stopping by, dropping by to say hi. Much love to you. This is only day one.
What's that beautiful thing that we both wrote down? Let's end it with that. Let's share that with them.
Which one?
I think we did share it, right? Taking time for yourself.
Yeah, taking time. Remember, take time for yourself. No one else can do it. No one can do it for you. You got to do it for you. But yeah, but what you do for yourself, you do for the collective. The change you have on yourself, it changes the collective. The love you give to yourself, you give to the collective. Yeah. Much love. Much love. They said, make a beautiful night, sending you tons of love energy. Take that, take that, take that. Hey!
Boom, boom, boom.
Slow motion this side. Raising the frequency, raising the vibration. We're out here in the heart of nature, baby. Oh my goodness. Diving deep once again. Much love to all of you and enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah, we will be back soon. Take care.
Thank you.
All right.